So this is Chris Blends. He is a 10K a month barber now. He's been cutting hair for how long?
Year and a half now.
A year and a half now. And he scaled his business in a year and a half to 10K a month. And he's one of my students in my program that has the fastest winning rate. He joined back in April 2025 and his first 10K a month was in August. So in about 4 months, he scaled from 2K to 10K a month in only 4 months with the proven concepts and methods on social media that's got him new clientele and got him higher price points. Funny enough, he actually works with me now at No Bias, the best shop in Orange County. And so Chris, I guess before joining the program, bro, where were you at?
Damn, bro. I was moving like shop to shop. It was my first 3-4 months. Went all in on cutting. And I was about, let me see, making less than 1,000, bro. 1,000 a month, maybe like 1,000 and 1,500.
Yeah.
Just moving around, bro. Nothing consistent, nothing secure.
And where were you working at before, and how was that environment that you had there?
Before I joined, or?
Yeah.
The environment was cool. It was more of an older, like an old school shop, you know, just walk-ins, no social media to post a picture, not a video. Really, social media was like, it looked pretty like dumb, looked pretty stupid, you know, but that was the fastest way to do it. And I had to do it. I didn't care if, you know, it looked weird at first. I just had to do it.
Cool. And actually, I know Chris I used to work in a shop in Anaheim, and I used to be there for 3 years. And while I was still figuring out social media myself, figuring out how to get clientele, slowly getting to the top, slowly but surely. While in that journey, I actually met Chris. He was a new hire at the shop I was at. And I worked with him for about probably 3 months. So he had a little bit of insight what I was doing. So when it came to joining the program, maybe a couple months later, like 4 or 5 months later, when I came to the shop and started the program, what made you want to, take that risk and make the investment to work with me?
It was like the same thing. You moved from Anaheim to Irvine, and I moved from Anaheim to Santa Ana, closer to the Irvine side. So yeah, I knew it was possible. If you were doing it at a higher price point than me, why couldn't I do it at an even cheaper price, you know? It shouldn't be that hard.
Facts. And before the program, were you ever getting any sort of like clientele from social media? Or like how are you getting your clients from?
Everything was either walk-ins or a referral, maybe like passed out a couple like cards and stuff back then, but nothing on social media, just a couple likes or followers. That was
a lot of like old school stuff.
Yeah,
like old school stuff. Hell yeah. And did you ever feel like stuck, or did you ever like feel like I couldn't go anywhere past this in the moment when you were struggling?
Nah, I never could go past it. It was just like when I decided to just lock in. Right. I had to choose when I wanted to start.
Right. Okay. Obviously, like paying someone when you're struggling, or like don't really have the money to or the funds to invest in something. And what made you trust like yourself more than anything to put that scarcity mindset aside and just have full faith in yourself to actually make it work? Like what was that turning point or switch that made you want to do it?
I joined right after my birthday. I think I'd saved up like I'd worked like 6 months maybe full time and barbering, and I had saved up, like 1,000, and I was spent it for my birthday. And after that, I was like, damn, I gotta go back to just working to get 1,000. And I had a little more saved, so I was like, that worked with you. I knew you could do it. You had the clients, everything was there. I was like, might as well. I was like, it's either I'll lose or I'll go up.
Right, cool. Well, and honestly, it's probably more so like you stay in the same place or you go up.
Yeah,
exactly. There's no losing at that point.
Exactly, there was nothing to lose.
That's one thing a lot of people don't take in mind. Like, you're not losing anything. You're just taking the risk, and if nothing happens, then you stay in the same spot. So I take the risk and move forward, But I know there's a lot of barber mentorships or courses that are online, from gurus in Miami or in the penthouse, living that luxurious lifestyle. That looks cool on social media, but when you think about it, these guys have hundreds of members in their community that they have no focus on one individual. So when it came to my program, bro, when you had a barber that was equally as the same status as them, but he was giving out in-person program sessions in this very room. How did that make you feel versus, investing your money to someone else that would have thrown you into a school program or a course?
I tried the school programs. I didn't pay maybe one time like $50, but a lot of them were like the free ones. And I mean, you couldn't really learn nothing. It was just telling you the same thing: post videos, post daily, post transformations. They kind of weren't really giving you a blueprint, It was just, if you want to, you could try to do this.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you were local, so I knew I could ask you anything, text you. And then you showed me how to do like actual videos, certain types of content, how to post it, when to post it. I just knew it'd be easier and better, so it'd work.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I've done my own fair share of mentorships before, where I've you know, paid someone to get me in a course or like a school program or like a Discord, you know, like, and you get on the call with them and they tell you, yeah, bro, just post more. And then, all right, next. I'm like, what the fuck? I did not pay X amount of money to get told to be post more. You know what I mean?
Straight up.
So when I was in a program like that, I was like, hey, how can I differentiate myself to being a lot better, a lot more valuable compared to someone that does the same thing and just post more and just get thrown into a bunch of modules and figure it out yourself, you know? Like, I didn't want to do that because I have pretty strong morals and I didn't want my shit to be just, you know, scammy or quick money, you know? Like, I wanted to be valuable. I could change people's lives for real, for real. Were you skeptical at all at first? Like, what were some objections that you had in your mind that were like, oh, I don't know?
Honestly, I was just losing everything I had saved. Was it gonna work or wasn't gonna work? I kind of went in there and, you know, if I could just get a little more money, it was a win. Just make the money back. But like by the first session, I knew, you know, I'll be good. I just got to do it.
That's fucking fire. And like, what were you hoping to achieve like after like the first couple sessions or like just in general the program?
I wanted a client retaining content.
Yeah.
I wanted something that people would watch and would want to book with me, you know? Before and afters don't really work for everyone. You know, you need certain content that will attract clients, and that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I got.
Oh yeah, fire. So when it comes to like content strategy, bro, like what was your game plan when it came to like the posting content? How much more like visual clarity did you have when you came to posting content after joining the program?
I learned there's a lot of connection. You want to make the client feel comfortable before he even sits in your chair. I was never posting my face, my voice. I wasn't editing really. I was just a couple clips. After, you know, I learned, you know, there needs to be trust before you book with someone. That was one of the biggest things I learned.
That's fire. And obviously, when you first worked with me, I think you were at $35 a haircut. 35 or 30?
30
a haircut. And now you're at 45.
Yeah.
So when it came to that strategy going up in price, what, like, based off what I told you and based off what like your numbers told you, what strategy, what made you want to go up in price and made it actually like valid to go up in price? Not I'd agreed, but I had a strategy. What was that strategy for you? Was it demand? Was it views? Was it clients? What was it for you?
It was the demand. You know, I was averaging about 230 cuts a month for 3 months. You know, that's a lot of haircuts. Give or take 10 a day. I knew if I went up, you know, you'd lose a chunk, but I'd still be pretty solid. And with the same content strategy I learned, I just regain it back and be able to go up again.
And how are you tracking the demand?
I just have a tracking sheet. You know, I track where each client came from, Instagram, walk-in, referral, how many cuts I did, you know. Just got to make sure I know where everything's coming from to make sure I'm doing everything right.
I guess when it came to the first session, bro, like what was the biggest thing that you were like, holy shit, like this is how I want to do it? Or like, holy, like the biggest like it moment for you? Like what was that for you?
The first session probably really was a full consultation. I was kind of asking, what do you want to do? Not really following through, you know, with any problems, anything they didn't like, anything they really want. I was just kind of, you know, basic. What do you want? Okay, you know, and I learned follow up, ask questions, make them feel comfortable, you know?
Yep, for sure. So you were one of my first like students, bro. Like you took the full risk because there was no real testimonials before you joining. Like you were like one of the like first four, you know?
Yeah.
And you were the first barber that was outside the barbershop that I worked at that was in my program, you know? So you had really no like backup evidence that what I was doing was working. But the fact that I think what helped most is that you actually knew me personally. So obviously like there was no real like evidence like any testimonials that I had before. Now there is a ton of evidence, right?
Yeah.
But what surprised you the most about joining the program that you didn't really expect, you know what I mean? Because like I said, I was already like a 12K a month barber at that time, but I had no one in my program that was making 10K a month yet, you know? So what surprised you the most about joining, I guess?
Really, you were actually showing me how to do it, you know? I really thought you were just going to tell me post this, post that. But you actually showed me how to do it. I saw that it worked. I knew you, so I could just ask you. I could just text you whenever. And I mean, everything was there. There was a lot of trust.
Yeah.
And I just trusted that it'll work, and it did.
And how did it feel like for you to like have me in person over like online? Like, how was that much more valuable to you?
It makes everything way easier. You could talk a certain way through text, but in person, you know, you get the genuine, raw reaction and response. And it's way easier to process, way easier for me to understand hands-on than visually.
Cool. And I guess when it came to investing your money, was that the only person you wanted to join, or was there anything anywhere else you wanted to join? And when it came to the final decision, what made you want to choose me versus like going to someone else?
The main thing was just you were in person. That was one of the most different things that I had seen. Everyone else was online. You know, if you wanted an in-person session, it was a crazy amount of money. Being able to, you know, learn hands-on for multiple sessions was way easier. It felt safer, and it was better.
What was the biggest month for you, like ever? Like how much clients you cut that month? how much money you made that month, how much new clients, and yeah, just those.
My biggest month that I had was the month of August, the first time I did it. For the month, I had 56 new clients. I was already averaging 200 a month, but this time I had gained another 50, and I made about 10,750. That was the best month I had, compared to April. I think I made 3,000, 5,000 in May, 6,000 in June, 7.5 July, and then August I made 10,700.
So you can see the growth from April's when he started until month by month. He eventually grew until his first 10K month in August, and you saw demand is crazy. There's a lot of barbers that can't even do 20 haircuts a month. They don't have enough demand to do that. One of the biggest things that I've learned is that a lot of these, barber gurus that charge 100 plus a haircut that make 15K a month, which is super solid, but they only could take 150 haircuts or less a month, They don't have enough demand to cut more than 150 or more than 120, you know what I mean? They cap at 15K a month, which is cool, If they want to live like that, cool, you know what I mean? But what I've learned is that I've learned how to charge $75, $80 a haircut and do 250 haircuts a month myself. So I can charge a high price point, still expensive, but have so much more demand, 100 more people more a month that I cut and making 18 to 20K a month, you know what I mean? So not only do I know how to charge high price point, but I know how to get a client to pay a high price point and do it 250 times in a month. You know what I mean? Versus someone else that does 120 haircuts a month and charge 100 a haircut. You know what I mean? Yes, you're more expensive, but your demand is not as high as I can show you. You know what I mean? And what they show you is going to be totally online versus me all in person. And that's why my students win as much as possible, because they get that full blueprint from A to Z, from when the client gets in the chair to consulting with them, to recording, to editing that content, to not only recording one piece of content with them, but 5 pieces of content of one client, so it can be fully stacked up for the whole week schedule. I just have one client. A lot of barbers that tend to be like, oh, I'm too busy to film, too slammed to record, but I can have 15 haircuts a day and still bang out 50 pieces of content. Each client is an opportunity to record. You know what I mean? And that's what you learn in the sessions, is that never undervalue your time, because you can utilize your time as much as possible to create content for every single client. So regardless of how busy I am, I still bring out pieces of content. I have a content vault, and I have a structure of what to post and when to post, and can get 5 pieces of content of one client times 15 a day. So you can think about that number, 15 times 5, crazy. So there's no sort of excuse, you know what I mean? But a lot of barbers just lack that guidance of what it is to post, But in these sessions, you get exactly what it is. So you never fail to understand what to post, and you never fail to understand the structure behind it. It's clear as day, because you get it from the cutting part to recording to editing to posting, all in one session times 4. 16 hours total of pure one-on-one completely just for you. Who else is doing that? No one, I can promise you. And I will say that I am probably the first to do this, and there'll probably be a lot of people trying to copy me because it works, you know what I mean? But if someone's not copying you, then you're not doing something right, you know what I mean? That's what I want. And talk about like this last 2 months. How has your life changed ever since joining? Like, what has happened after August, you know what I mean?
After August, I had a good savings account. I was finally able to save, have a good amount of money right there just in case. I got 6 months of expenses right there just ready to go. I got a new car.
What car?
2023 Beamer 540. I'm able to go out more. I could just take a couple of days off if I want to. There's a lot more freedom to it, knowing that I have demand there. I built the demand. I know how to get the demand. It feels safer and secure.
You came from not being booked out, so not having that much demand. How does it feel now to be able to come to a Friday and have like a lot of haircuts lined up for you? Like, how does that feel now?
It feels good. That's what everyone wants as a barber. You don't want to wait around. You don't want to just sit around waiting for a walk-in to come. It feels good. People will go looking for you to book with you.
Yeah.
It feels good to have work,
Even for me, like, you can stress a lot about having a lot of work, But again, like, when you had no work, that's all you prayed for, is have a lot of work, Don't take it for granted, and just, it's amazing to be stressful over work. I'd rather be stressed with hella work than with none, you know what I mean? I always preach that, because it's so true. And you said you bought a new car, bro. How did that feel to be able to be like financially ready and stable to just be able to be like, yeah, I could buy a car and not have to like be like tripping about it?
Honestly, I was able to make, go from 2 to 10 in 4 months. After that, it was secure for 4 months. I'm very picky on the numbers. Everything has to be consistent before I can go up or move something. It was consistent for 120 days. If it was consistent like that, I knew I could keep it consistent or even grow more. And that's why, I wasn't afraid. All it does is maybe work a little harder now.
Facts.
Make more money to pay that.
Facts. And I guess what kind of connections or what kind of like new opportunities were you able to get after joining the program? Not just talking about money wise, talking about like connection and networking and all that.
Well, I met plenty of barbers all over Southern California. They're also part of it. We all text each other. They all have questions. I have questions. I was able to work here at the shop you're at just through connection. Literally just asked. And just because I was one of your students.
And now you're able to get out of the, out of a toxic environment into a great environment and to be around like-minded people that are awesome, making 6 figures, a year as a barber. And not only that, everyone knows that barbering is fun, it's a cool industry to make money, but it's never the end goal. You know what I mean? So having people around you is talking about like other business opportunities, other ventures to invest in. That's the type of people you want to be around,
Exactly.
Not people that, unfortunately, the industry is people who just like to smoke a lot, party a lot, drink a lot, be kind of degenerates, which is pretty common when it's industry, But in this program that I preach is that it's a lot more than that. It's none of that and more opportunities, ventures, like-minded mindsets, invest into yourself, growth, opportunity, all that stuff, And that's why people win. And people that actually lock in and want to get better themselves do far more than someone that's just a kind of degenerate, kind of just thinks they know it all and has a scarcity mindset and they stay stuck forever. So the whole goal of this program is to break out of that mindset. And I come from a pretty competitive background with my athletics and just having my own pressure on myself of wanting to be the best. So I kind of spiral that mindset towards all my students and make them feel that energy so they don't lack any sort of accountability. I want them to have full accountability so that regardless of the situation or their mindset, I make them switch that mindset with continuous and consistent accountability so they don't ever lack. You know what I mean? There's a standard you have to uphold to yourself, and I make sure that that standard is always hit week by week, day by day, with non-negotiables, with just consistency, pretty much. So when it comes to you joining the program, bro, who do you think this program is for, and what kind of barbers would be right for this opportunity?
Honestly, it's not for everyone. You could join, anyone could join. You could spend the money, but you have to want to get better. You gotta want to learn. You gotta be able to take some criticism, and you're gonna have to be the little one for right now till you're able to grow and do everything right and get there.
Facts. I guess when it comes to like a particular barber, who would be that person to be able to join the program that would help the most? I guess you can say like a certain amount of money.
If you're at a 3 to 4, anywhere from 2 to 4K consistent, probably. You're trying to post content. You have the effort. You just don't know how to do it. This is probably the best money you could spend. You could easily multiply that within a couple months.
I guess so. Would you recommend this program to barbers that are Orange County or SoCal?
Anyone in SoCal, bro, that is willing to put in work, you invest your money right and you'll get results.
Cool. What would you say to a barber right now that is struggling right now and that is on the fence about joining the program and it just needs more trust? What would you say to them?
You can't be scared, bro. No risk, no reward. You gotta trust in yourself and just kind of go for it.
Yeah, that's facts.
Scared money's not gonna make no money.
No, yeah, it's facts, bro. I remember back in like 2024, I invested in a mentorship and it was worth it, It wasn't totally with barbering, it was something else, but just things that you got to pay to play, it'll switch your mindset to, learning a lot more and learning a different perspective. I've probably invested in mentors probably about $20,000 already, and it's only helped me grow, If I was catching my ego and just thought I could do it myself, then I would have taken the long route and I probably would have been at this level where I'm at now until I'm like fucking 30 or something like that, But I wanted it now. I wanted to skip the learning curve. I had to, pay to play. And it's a win-win for everyone. I win, he wins, my students win, get new clients, get more money, circle of success. So it's pretty cool. So before we cap off this, this video, I guess. If you would never join the program, bro, let's say you said, nah, I'm good, bro. I'm scared to pay them an investment. I don't trust you. I think I'm good. Like, I'll figure it out myself. Where would you be at right now if you never would take that risk?
I think I'd be reaching and be comfortable with around 5K a month, Not that many haircuts, good amount of money. Sure, but I want more, and that's why I invested. But if I wouldn't have, I'd be pretty stuck still. I wouldn't be that far from where I was.
Oh, yeah. All right, bro. Other than that, that's your journey. That's your story. From scaling from 3K a month, 10K a month in less than 4 months charging 45 haircut, 60 with beard, and doing about 200 haircuts per month on average. Now, even at that price point, the demand is super high. Now you work in a private studio at the shop I work at, so you have a one-on-one connect with me, but with other six-figure barbers that are in my program as well. You have a new car, you live happier, you're more freedom, able to buy things without having to worry about it. All that is a plus, and it's just like having your bread stacked up, having the security that you have money. So other than that, bro, that's pretty much it. Our next goal is 15K a month for you, a new price raise, and little by little, we're gonna get there.
Yes, sir.
Damn, it's actually been almost a year since you joined. It's March
Yeah.
right now. Holy shit.
That'll be
That's crazy, actually.
2-3 weeks.
Oh, fuck. That's fire, bro. All right, other than that,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
Oh, yeah, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Easy work.